Today, we're going to break down a way of thinking about leadership that isn't about having a fancy title or a corner office. Nope, it's really about turning all that messy uncertainty we face into real, meaningful action. And the best part? It's a framework that literally anyone can use. So, let's get into it.
Okay, first things first, let me ask you a question. Freedom or safety? Which one do you pick? It sounds simple, right? But this choice, it's actually at the very heart of how we act in teams, at our jobs, and, well, everywhere. See, we all love the idea of freedom, but let's be honest. The uncertainty that comes along with it, it can be pretty terrifying.
You know, it's kind of like a little kid. They love running around, exploring everything. That's our natural desire for freedom. But the second that kid gets scared or overwhelmed, what do? They run straight back to a parent, to that authority figure, for safety. And as adults, we're not that different. When things get chaotic and uncertain, it's so tempting to just hand over our own power, our own agency, to some strong leader who promises to make everything safe and predictable again.
So how do we break out of that trap? Well, the key is a pretty fundamental mindset shift. We have to start rethinking two words we hear all the time, but maybe don't fully get: democracy and leadership.
First up, democracy. We're usually taught to see it as this huge political system, right? Something that happens in a voting booth every couple of years. But what if we started seeing it as a practice? Something you actively do every single day. In your team meetings, in your neighborhood group, even just with your family. Suddenly, democracy stops being this abstract idea and becomes something real, something tangible you can actually engage with.
And that brings us to the second big shift: leadership. We tend to think of a leader as a position, a CEO, a president, a manager. But this framework asks us to see leadership as an action that anyone, and I mean anyone at any level, can take to help their group tackle a tough challenge. And this is so crucial. The point isn't to create followers, it's to create more leaders.
So, when you combine these two powerful new ways of thinking, you get this incredible framework for taking action. So, let's put a name on it. What exactly is democratic leadership?
Okay, here's the full-on definition. It's the practice of enabling others to activate their agency, which is really just their own power to act and make choices, especially when things are uncertain. So it's all about building up skills in people, sharing power instead of hoarding it, and making sure the group's success never, ever depends on just one person. It's a total team effort.
So if we boil all that down, the core mission is pretty simple. The main job is just to help all of us as a group get better at dealing with the messy, unpredictable, and, often scary reality of uncertainty. It completely reframes uncertainty not as some threat to be avoided, but as the essential ingredient you need for freedom and for any new ideas to even have a chance to grow.
Now, this all sounds great as a big idea, but what does it actually look like when you're trying to do it? What's in the toolkit? Let's take a look.
This is where it gets really practical. We're talking about real skills for the real world. Things like how to have those really difficult conversations, how to build trust, how to understand group dynamics. I mean, literally learning how to read a room. Think about it. Imagine your team is stuck on a new project. A traditional boss might just tell everyone what to do, but someone practicing democratic leadership would use these tools to help the team figure out the solution together, even when it's messy. These aren't just abstract concepts, they're concrete tools you can learn to use.
Okay, so you've got the mindset and you've got the toolkit. But here's the thing. Just knowing what a hammer is doesn't mean you know how to build a house, right? The real magic here is in how you learn to actually use these ideas.
You really can't just read about this stuff in a book and expect to get it. It's totally experiential. It's about building up the muscle memory for this kind of leadership through hands-on, roll-up-your-sleeves application.
So here's what that looks like. Step one, you bring in a real live problem that you're actually facing right now at work or in your community. Step two, you practice using these new tools on that exact problem right there in real time with coaching and exercises. And then step three, and this is key, you immediately take what you learned and apply it back in your actual life. It's a constant, direct loop between learning and doing.
And that brings us right back to what might be the single most important takeaway from this whole framework. The ultimate goal isn't about getting power or making people follow you. It's about empowering everyone around you, building up their ability to act, and creating a culture where everyone feels like they have a stake in the game. So, that leaves us with one final thought, really a question for you. Now that you know leadership is an action, not a title, where will you choose to practice it today? Maybe in your next keen meeting,
or at the dinner table tonight, in your book club. The opportunities you'll find are absolutely everywhere.